Very warm welcome back to the channel. My name is Vic and I'm a painter in the UK, Gloucestershire to be exact. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a painting I did in 1994. So this is the painting in question. I'm going to put a little snapshot of that up in a second, a still for you to have a look at. But first I want to give you a bit of background to this painting. So as I say, every picture tells a story, and this one obviously does tell a story. So I'm going to put the still of the painting up now for you to have a look at. So in this particular painting, it's got a very Art Deco look to it. So in 1994, I was working for a computer company called Digital Computers, who went on to become Compaq, who went on to become somebody else, and eventually got bought over and disappeared entirely. Anyway, that's another story. So that was my daytime job. I was working for them in finance. In the evenings, I used to come home and paint. So in 1994, I went to New York. I went to America, and I had one of my first trips to New York. If you've ever been to New York, oh my goodness, New York is fantastic. I desperately want to go back again someday, but it's one of those places that you'll never get tired of going to. And there's so many different types of buildings. The architecture is just out of this world. You've got modern, obviously, lots of I've never even seen yet, but you've got some really classic Art Deco buildings, like the Chrysler building, for example. I'd also been down to Miami as well and had a look at some of the fantastic Art Deco buildings down there. So when I come back, I created this painting. So most of the work that I do is usually being kind of inspired by things I've seen and done. So this particular one is in watercolour. I hadn't actually migrated across to acrylics at that time. So if we look at this in a bit of detail here, I'll try and zoom in here. There's some nice little features that I kind of picked up from my travels and I tried to incorporate into the piece. Whilst I was in New York, I also took my portfolio with me as well, which is quite funny. I took back in the day when you could take a lot of luggage on aeroplanes, I took an A1 size portfolio on the plane with me, and I dragged it around a lot of galleries in New York, probably Manhattan, I think it was actually. And I just remember spending a couple of days dragging this hideously large thing around with me on the subway and various places. As usual, nobody wanted to see anything, but it was what I wanted to do at the time. So yeah, walking around New York with an A1 size portfolio. Probably okay when you're younger. I don't think I want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it now. Probably could even lift it actually. Portfolio is still upstairs. It's absolutely massive. But yeah, so there we go. So this was the result of my trip to New York, I think. I'm not too sure about the middle bit. I think that middle bit, the ring thing, almost reminds me of like a kind of life-saving belt kind of thing. You know, the thing you get on a boat or something like that, I guess you could say. But at this point, this was on my last, might have been the last actually watercolor I did. So when I do watercolors like this, obviously you can see the colors are very vivid, and I've not enhanced this video at all. This is kind of what you see is what you get. So there's no filters on it. So the colors were very, very bright, and I used to overlap all of the paint at least 3 or 4 times to actually get the color nice and kind of intense. So everything I really hate is wishy-washy paintings, really. So that's the reason it is very, very bright. Luckily, I did it on quite thick paper actually, because it does really soak into the paper. I don't know what density this paper is, but it's quite heavy actually. I've just stuck it on this bit of board so it shows off better. But it is, if you can look at it, it's quite thick really. But I think that was quite a nice painting. I think it was on exhibition a couple of times. I don't think it really ever did anything, to be honest, but I kind of quite liked it. I was very happy with that. I haven't really done anything in Art Deco style, not for a little while actually. I do like the style a lot, but it's one of those things I kind of have to be in the mood to actually do it. If you kind of force it, it doesn't work. It's like all these kind of things. You kind of have to be in the mood to actually get in the zone and do it. But that was my little delve into the world of Art Deco based on my trip to New York. So I hope you enjoyed having a little look at that. Say 1994, so it's getting a bit old. Well, I say getting a bit old. 94, was that 30 years old? 30 years old, something like that. 94, 04, 14, 24, yeah, 30 years old. I'm really good at maths. And anyway, so I did a lot of painting back in that day. I did a lot of big paintings back in the 90s. But then unfortunately I had an accident, and that put an end to that really. I had an accident that completely damaged my neck. So I had to change the way I paint. So now I paint on knees on everything. I can't lean over so much. I always paint flat. That's my preferred way of painting, is flat. Because I can control the paint a bit more, and I just feels right doing like that. But if I'm doing it bigger now, I have to do it on an easel and look terribly posh. But given the choice, I still like to paint flat. But I don't know. That's why I have to paint a sort of short, sharp bursts, really. Anyway, thanks a lot for having a look at that with me. I hope some of that made sense. Thank you for your subscriptions. Thank you very much for the people that have subscribed recently. It's always a surprise to see people actually watch the channel, me waffling on. But I kind of want to use this channel as a way to show the work I've done in the past. Art is one of those weird things. We're always looking back. We're not often looking forward, which is a bit of a shame, really. So I think if we looked forward, we would probably get a lot of different artwork, a lot more exciting artwork, but that's just the way things are. So we are always looking back. And unfortunately, that's the way the art world is, in that most people are pushing up daisies before you get to see anything of note from them. So, and that was a good point recently, actually. There was a gentleman who was a kind of an amateur artist. He was, I don't know what his nationality was. I'm going to say Polish, something like that. But he lives in Swindon, I believe, which is not a million miles away from where I am here. And anyway, he produced a lot of work. I think it was back in sort of 70s, 80s and stuff like that. And only now are people actually starting to kind of look at the work and, you know, kind of giving them some recognition, which is really, really sad. And I never really understand why it has to be like that. It's like nobody ever wants to look at you whilst you're still alive. Everybody wants you pushing up daisies or say, oh, because that was really good. Oh, it was really, yeah. Oh, he didn't realise how good he was at the time. And one thing I will say to people is, especially collectors, if you're looking to collect artwork, have a look out there now. Don't look back. Don't look back 30, 50 years or whatever. Yes, there's a lot of great work out there, but have a look what's happening now, because there is some superb artists out there, and there's a lot of work, a lot of good quality work. Unfortunately, in the media, especially, I hate to say it, but like on YouTube and stuff like that, you will see people doing, quote, modern art, and they'll be just throwing stuff at a canvas, which is fine if that's what you like and you get a kick out of it and that's your thing, fine. But to find good quality, detailed, contemporary art is difficult. But do a search and have a look. So if you find somebody that you like the look of their work, make a note of the name, Google them, because I bet you bottom dollar they're going to have a website, or they're going to be on Instagram or somewhere. You can contact them directly, and then you can have a chat with them, probably visit them, have a look at the portfolio, see what they're actually offering for sale. That is the best way to buy contemporary artwork today. Avoid going online, avoid galleries like the plague. The artist doesn't get hardly anything out of it. The galleries just make money. So always go back to the source. Anyway, that's my little rant over for today. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you had a bit of fun looking at that video there. Perhaps it rung a few bells with somebody. If you've been to New York, what did you think of the buildings? I mean, the Chrysler building is fantastic. Went up at the Empire State Building, that was out of this world. Still one of my favourite visits of all time. Absolutely loved it. And the people as well. Before I went to New York, I was told, oh, it'll be, you could get mugged in Central Park. This can happen, that can happen. They can happen anywhere around the world. But I have to say, I absolutely found it an amazing place. And I made a very good friend there, actually, quite by chance in the bus terminal. When I was waiting for my bus on 42nd Street, I actually had missed one night and I got chatting. I'll tell you about the story another time, but ended up speaking to quite a well-known artist, as she turned out to be in later years, and we're still in touch. So chance meetings, things like that, that's one of the reasons why you should travel. Enjoy travel. If you get the opportunity, grab it and go. So thanks a lot for your time. Please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. You take care now. Bye-bye.